Hey there guys, today we're taking a look at Space Hulk Deathwing Enhanced Edition running on the i5-1135G7. Now this Warhammer based game is one of the games that I really enjoy playing just because we don't really get that many good Warhammer games out there besides, the occasional one that drops that might be somewhat playable, but for the most part, I think really this has been one of the only ones that is at least half decent. It's not amazing for I'm not trying to tell you that this is an amazing game or anything like that, but for the most part, it actually plays pretty well, and unfortunately, it doesn't run too well here at 1080p with the lowest possible settings. Now, the lowest possible settings do drop the in-game render resolution to about 65%. Now, the performance at that level is not exactly the greatest. We are hitting 1% lows that are absolutely brutal. The averages aren't too bad in that we are going to be hitting averages in the 40s, in the 50s, sometimes even higher. The FPS numbers are going to fluctuate depending on if you're in an area that's a lot more open or, like these enclosed hallways that you'll see around these maps. So the performance will fluctuate around, but really the biggest issues at 1080p is really those 1% lows. They're just incredibly brutal and they make the experience really, really rough. Everything just feels so sluggish and heavy. The averages are close to 60, but it really doesn't feel like that because of the insane fluctuations all over the place. So really, it's not a playable experience at 1080p, even with the lowest possible settings. And it's unfortunate to see because we are bordering at the edge here. I think if there was just a little bit more performance headroom, those 1% lows, if we could get them up into the 30 range, we'd have a much better experience here. But unfortunately, that's just not the case here at 1080p. Now, if we drop the resolution down, we can net a little bit more performance, but 1080p is still just going to be out of the question. And here you can see what the performance is like at 720p with the absolute lowest settings. So that means we are getting an even lower resolution than 720p because the in-game render resolution is set to 65% of 720p. Now the performance here is pretty decent. It's a noticeable uplift in the averages. We are now regularly above 60 FPS. We're pretty much keeping some pretty high averages there, but those 1% lows have not been uplifted enough to really make a noticeable difference in a lot of situations. You'll see it climbs up here, but as we progress further, it'll start to drop down, it'll go up, it'll go down. Those 1% lows are going to fluctuate all over the place. That lets you know that there are some inconsistent performance going on here. These constant fluctuations, if you see your 1% lows changing a lot, it either means that you had a huge lag spike that it is now, recovering from, or you are getting just very, very inconsistent performance. And these fluctuations are going to be very, very noticeable. And that's a real issue here, because if we were getting a consistent, 1% lows, even of 30, it would be better than what we have right now, where it will fluctuate from, low 30s, maybe go up into the mid 30s, sometimes getting close to those 40s, but just dropping down. The constant changes in the 1% lows are very noticeable. It's just this constant heavy stutter, and obviously you are a heavy character in this game, that is what the Space Hulks are, but it's not a heaviness in that your character is like that. It is a response issue. The game just does not feel as responsive. You see me pan around and suddenly you see those frame time spikes. So the performance is just not there. I would really say that unless you are super dedicated to playing this, or your friends are just super into playing this, you're not really going to be able to get away with it. If you really, really need to play this game, you can do it. I sat here, I played this game for a few hours, had no problem doing it, but I knew what I was, getting myself into, I don't think I would have sat there and played it that long if it wasn't for the fact that I had to make this video, and that's really the big thing. That's the ultimate judge on whether or not a game runs properly, whether I would play it outside of, actually making a video, and this is not one of them, I don't think I'm going to be touching this game on this system anymore just because the performance is too inconsistent. I really wouldn't recommend it for that. It is a very fun game to play with friends. I wouldn't really play it if you're just looking for a single player game, though. I would rather just play Space Marine, and Space Marine is actually going to be a game that we're going to be testing soon because Space Marine 2 is coming. I'm gonna take a huge whiff of copium right now and hope to God that the game is actually good. But the first game is so much fun. We're gonna look at the game running on here. I just wanted to show you guys this one first so that you could get a more modern Warhammer game experience, and then we're gonna look at one that is an absolute classic. But anyways, I hope you guys found this video useful. If you did, let me know and be sure to subscribe. I really appreciate that. And I'll see you guys later.